Giyu Tomioka, the only Hashira known as the fake one. At least, that's what he believes. It's not that he lacks strength, it's that strength no longer feels like salvation. The title, the uniform, the blade, each one a memory of those who didn't return. To the world, he's calm, cold, controlled. But to himself, he is a man trying not to drown in still water. Because when you survive everyone you love, even peace feels like punishment. Before he was the Water Hashira, before his name carried weight, Giyu Tomioka was just a boy who should have died. He lived with his sister, Tsutako, after their parents passed. She was his warmth, his guide, until one night, when a demon came for them. Giyu ran because she told him to. She faced the demon alone, trading her life for his. That night carved guilt into his soul deeper than any wound. He learned that survival isn't always a blessing. Sometimes it's a burden you carry forever. When the former Water Hashira, Sakonji Urokodaki, took him in, Giyu trained to fight demons not out of hatred, but out of debt. No amount of training could wash away the feeling that he wasn't supposed to be here at all. Under Urokodaki's guidance, Giyu trained alongside another boy, Sabito. Sabito was everything Giyu could never be. Bold, honest, unshaken. His smile carried the confidence Giyu could never fake. They became inseparable brothers, not by blood, but by shared resolve. When the final selection came, the test to become official demon slayers, they entered together. But destiny repeated its cruelty. Early in the trial, Giyu was gravely injured. Sabito saved him, cutting through demon after demon. But when the week ended, only one of them was left standing. Sabito was gone. And once again, Giyu survived where someone better had died. There is a word for what lives inside people like Giyu. Survivor's guilt. It's the mind's way of turning mercy into punishment. It tells you that every breath you take is borrowed, that living is an act of betrayal. It convinces you that the dead deserved life more than you ever will. And the cruelest part is how quiet it is. No screams, no rage, just the slow erosion of joy until even happiness feels undeserved. That's what Giyu carries. Not arrogance, not coldness, just the unbearable weight of existing when others cannot. He doesn't speak because words feel like luxury. He doesn't smile because joy feels like theft. He never celebrates victory because every demon he slays feels one heartbeat too late. The fake Hashira, a title not born from ridicule but from a soul that cannot forgive itself. Years passed. Demons fell under his blade. His strength grew until even Urokodaki called him worthy of inheriting his mantle. Giyu Tomioka, the new Water Hashira. To others, it was an achievement. To him, it was a reminder of everything he owed and could never repay. When the Hashira gathered, he stood apart. While others laughed, argued, and trained, Giyu stayed silent, not because he disliked them, but because he didn't feel he belonged. He wore the title, but it never fit. And among the corpse, he was the quiet Hashira, the aloof one, the man who stood tall but never smiled. Then came the day that changed everything. In the snow-covered mountains, Giyu came across Tanjiro Kamado. The boy's sister, Nezuko, had turned into a demon. Giyu drew his blade. His duty was clear. But when Nezuko, instead of attacking, shielded Tanjiro from his sword, something inside Giyu broke open. In her desperate act, he saw Tsutako, the sister who had done the same for him. He hesitated. For the first time in years, compassion overruled guilt. He lowered his sword. He spared them both and sent them to Urokodaki, telling Tanjiro to train. That moment wasn't mercy, it was recognition. He saw in Tanjiro what he had lost: faith, innocence, and hope. And through the Kamado siblings, a small part of Giyu's frozen heart began to thaw. Even so, the guilt never left him. When the Hashira training began to prepare for the war against Muzan, Giyu refused to take part. He stayed away, convinced he had no right to teach others. He wasn't avoiding work. He was avoiding the title, because to him, every time someone called him Hashira, it felt like a lie. When Tanjiro found him and asked why, Giyu finally confessed what had been buried for years. He told the boy about Sabito and how he hadn't really passed the final selection, how he only lived because his friend had died. He admitted that even now, after all he'd achieved, he still felt like he didn't deserve his place among the Hashira. Moments later, Tanjiro asked him something he needed to know. It was a simple truth, but one Giyu had never dared to face. When the war finally came, the world turned upside down. The Infinity Castle appeared a shifting labyrinth beneath Muzan's control, and every Slayer was dragged inside. Amid the chaos, Giyu fought alongside Tanjiro Kamado, their opponent, Akaza, upper rank 3, the same demon who killed Rengoku, the same monster who believed strength was the only truth. The battle was unlike any before. Akaza's fists tore through everything, his movements faster than thought. But Giyu met every blow with unshakable rhythm, water breathing in its purest form, flowing without hesitation, precise as a heartbeat. He didn't fight to prove anything. He fought because Tanjiro was beside him, and he don't want to lose someone again. For a moment, Akaza's grin flickered into something almost human. Respect. He could feel it. Giyu's blade carried no arrogance, no hatred, only clarity. And in that silent recognition, something changed within Giyu. He realized that even an enemy could see what he had spent years denying, that he was a true Hashira. As the battle raged on, something awakened within him. The Demon Slayer mark. Waves of patterns spread across his face, his movements sharper, faster, purer. For the first time, Giyu wasn't fighting for redemption. He was fighting for life and the present. And when he and Tanjiro finally fought in perfect harmony, they became one unstoppable flow. Akaza, the demon who worshipped only strength, fell not to power, but to resolve. When the dust settled, Giyu stood still. The air hung heavy. The ground beneath him cracked. He didn't speak. He simply stared at his trembling hands. For the first time, the water within him wasn't still. It was moving, alive. Water had always been his nature, soft yet unyielding, calm yet relentless. It remembers everything it touches, yet never ceases to flow. For years, Giyu had been trapped in stillness, guilt frozen deep inside him. But water is not meant to stay still. When it finally moves, it washes away everything that once weighed it down. The battle with Akaza proved it. The moment the still water flowed again, the moment his guilt stopped drowning him and began to carry him forward. When silence returned and the castle walls lay in ruins, Giyu knelt in the fading light beside Tanjiro. Blood on his blade, breath steady, heart calm. For once, he didn't see a fraud in the reflection of his sword. He saw a Hashira. Not a perfect one, not a proud one, but a real one. Because being real was never about believing you deserve the title. It was about fighting for others, even when you don't. That is Giyu Tomioka, the man the world called the Water Hashira, and the man who once called himself undeserving. A story born from silence, carved from humility, carried by the current of a man who never saw himself as a hero. And that's what makes him one.